Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. So on this video, I'm going to go over exactly how you can transition from doing OA, aka online arbitrage, and going into wholesale, hopefully 100%. Because I know in the Amazon space, there's very little knowledge on how to do this properly. And if you don't know how to do it, you may not know where to start, you may not know how to begin, and just everything else in between. You may not know how to make the switch, and it can be very scary, very tempting, especially when you don't know what you're doing. And so hopefully after this video, you guys will have the full knowledge and in-depth guide on how to make that transition very smoothly without having to, bust your brain or anything. But before we get into that, guys, be sure to smash the like button, drop a comment down below, let me know what you guys think, and hit subscribe if you are interested in more videos like this. So anyways, let's jump straight into the video. So when it comes to making the transition from OA into wholesale, it can be very confusing because you don't know where to begin, you don't know where to start, and there's also a few things you need to have situated with your OA business before really making this transition. Because one thing I've noticed in the Amazon space, especially in today's economy, today's Amazon world, Twitter space and whatnot, is that people who do OA or even RA, they'll make like a 10K, 20K month or so, and then they start talking about transitioning into wholesale immediately. Which, I mean, I think it's okay if you have the capital to sustain that, but if you don't have the capital to really get into wholesale, then you really probably should wait, honestly. But that's just my opinion. Now let's go over some of the actual steps that you can take to transition from OE into wholesale. So number one, I really highly suggest you have a lot of your OA business or RA business as much as outsourced as possible. Okay, I'm talking about like the prep and dealing with like any account health stuff, repricing, and basically just as much as possible. Anything that's going to free up more of your actual time, because when you're trying to get into wholesale, you need to spend that time contacting suppliers, reaching out to them, maybe even meeting them in person. And so doing all of this, takes a valuable time that if you're still doing a lot of the processes in your OA business, it's really going to be hard to, balance the two. And depending on your family situation, if you have family to take care of, or maybe you're a single person, then, it could really vary. But yeah, it can get very time consuming. And not to mention, once you do open those wholesale accounts, you're going to have tons of catalogs. And depending if you have VAs or nobody even helping you, it's going to be even much harder to really source those catalogs on top of doing OA, because again, you're trying to do two different things at once, and so it's going to be very time consuming to try to balance both if you don't already have the OA aspect situated. All right, so definitely have as much outsource as possible. Like I said, your repricer, your health account stuff, the prepping for sure, even sourcing, have someone help you source, whether it's through a virtual assistant or so, or even someone personal. I advise at least having one person helping you source, because at least then it'll speed up the process. It'll save you so much time, and you're able to kind of you're able to kind of go a little bit faster when you're dealing with wholesale. Okay, so try to have as much as possible outsourced, and I guarantee you it will go so much smoother versus if you don't have as much outsourced, because then you're just complicating stuff way too much. Now, the second thing I advise for you guys to do, and this is something you should already be doing anyways, but some people might not, and that's having a decent amount of OA replens that you can constantly keep in restock and constantly sell through month to month, year to year, even possibly, which probably won't happen, but still, you definitely want to have those sustainable products that you can rely on, that you can buy, sell, repeat, and just so on and so forth. Because when you're trying to transition into wholesale, again, you're taking some of that time and focus from the OA aspect, and you're putting it into a different business model. And when doing that, if you don't have those sustainable products, it's going to be much harder for your business to continue to flow, because now you're putting everything else on pause. You're having to, spend time on wholesale, and you can't restock on nothing in OA. And so your business will take a slow dip or even a major dip, depending on how sustainable your business is. And so, you want to have some of those replenishable products already on hand. When you make the transition into wholesale, then you can just keep flowing, let the business running on its own for the most part, while you focus on the wholesale aspect, whether it's through calling to those distributors, brands, and sourcing the catalogs. Because trust me, guys, those catalogs will take up so much of your time, and if you don't have that that foundation on your OA business setup is going to be much harder, and especially if you're doing this full time. Okay, if you're doing this full time as a bringing an income for you and your family or whoever, yeah, I would really advise having those replans on hand, because otherwise you're gonna be not able to probably pay your bills if you're not already, if you don't already have sustainable products. So I do truly advise you guys, have some type of backup plan with your products, because man, if not, it's gonna be very, very bad for some of you. All right. So again, just have a foundation build up, and then you can just slowly transition into wholesale. Now, the third thing with making that transition from OE into wholesale is, take your time. I know most people think that if you go from OE to wholesale, that you need to do it just like that next morning and be 100% a wholesaler. And the truth is, guys, that you really don't. Okay, take your time with it. It's not a fast process that these gurus claim that it is, because it really ain't. You really need to take your time with one supplier, one catalog, and really dive deep into their catalog and see if you find any profitable product. Because the truth about wholesale is that, the easiest part is opening the accounts, to be honest. The hard part is going through these catalogs and realizing that, hundreds, if not thousands of products are not going to be profitable. And then you're really going to be disappointed when you can't find nothing but like 3 products or so. Which is normal, okay? There's nothing bad if that's the situation for you. We've all been through there. But yeah, man, it's just like I said, take your time, vet through these suppliers. You don't want to just jump into any supplier giving you ASIN numbers either, right? You want to do this stuff properly. So make sure you take your time. Make sure you're taking it one supplier at a time as well, okay? If you're able to spend, 10% of your capital with one supplier, well, that's even good, because now you have one supplier that you can work with. You have a supplier that you can spend your money with, and then you can move on to another supplier, and little by little, you start building up that catalog, building up those relationships with these suppliers, which brings me to my next point, actually, which is that, again, taking the time and building up those relationships. Wholesale is a long-term game that a lot of you don't seem to understand, okay? It's not just opening an account, buying products, and then boom, you make the transition, right? For a lot of you, you're going to have to build up that relationship with your sales rep, okay? You're going to have to show them that you're serious, that you're buying products constantly, whether it's on a weekly or monthly basis. They want to see that you're serious about your business and that you're making purchases, and that you're not just some random Amazon seller that's going to buy one order and then never be seen again, okay? So, and again, this could take a while, this could take weeks, months, maybe even over a year for you really to establish that relationship and actually start getting some type of volume discounts. And so, and some of you may not be ready for that either. You may not have the patience to do this, and you'll end up going back into doing OA because that was much easier, which is fine and normal. But again, if you're trying to make the transition from OA to wholesale, patience is part of the game. And a lot of you will be disappointed when you realize that, holy crap, I actually have to put in time, be patient, and really just wait to make the switch 100%. Because it's not a fast switch, guys, okay? It can take a while. And again, going back to not knowing what to do, you don't know what you're doing, right? You don't know how to start in wholesale. You don't know where to begin looking for suppliers. You don't know where to begin contacting suppliers. And so, all in all, make sure you have the knowledge of that first. Probably something I should have mentioned in the beginning, but I feel like I needed to go through all those tips before I actually really mentioned this one. But yeah, and if you need to, like, assuming that you have a sustainable OA business, you have some capital, even investing into a mentor or a course for wholesale specifically might not even be a bad idea. Most of them are pretty expensive, but if you follow the right ones, I guarantee you they'll give you the right knowledge that you need to go into wholesale. But it wouldn't hurt to invest into your business, into your knowledge, especially if you're trying to do something else and you really want to grow and scale with a different business model like wholesale, okay? Because let's be honest, doing OA only will only get you so far unless you plan on having like 100 VAs or something. But even at that scale and with all the purchasing power, all the order cancellations, it just makes more sense to do wholesale versus dealing with all the stuff that OA, will have you deal with long term versus just having it more simple with wholesale, okay? So, but yeah, man, like I said, get the knowledge, do it slowly, start one supplier at a time. Make sure your business has some sustainable products already so that you can have the boat flowing, let it keep going, and you don't have to worry about missing out on any sales. And like that, you're able to make that transition slowly and smoothly from OA going into wholesale. And the next thing you know, little by little, you really have a sustainable wholesale business You go from one supplier to 5, 10, and honestly, less than 10, you should have been full time by now, because you really don't need that many suppliers to be doing wholesale like that. You just need to find the right ones, and assuming you find the right ones, you're able to spend basically all your capital with them, and you can basically just be a full-time wholesaler at that point. But anyways, guys, hopefully this video helped. Hopefully I didn't confuse any of you in any part of this. If I did, let me know in the comment section down below. But as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. So peace.